I'll present as my last uh, passage I have picked from Surah Al-Baqarah, the one that begins from verse 257. The Almighty says, Allahu waliyul lazina amanu. Allah becomes the protecting friend of those people, amanu, who believe. Quite often in the Quran, when it's mentioned those who believe, if the context permits it, it actually means who intend to believe, who are inclined to believe. To be honest, the one who is inclined to believe is the one who already believes, because he's satisfying the condition, the only one condition that's there for somebody to believe. So Allahu waliyul lazina aman. Allah becomes the protecting friend of those who want to believe. يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور. He brings them out from the darkness of disbelief, إلى النور, towards the light of belief, from the darkness of ignorance to the light of truth. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, as for those who are bent upon disbelieving, أَوْلِيَاهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ, their friends are Satan's. يُخْرِجُونَهُم, they take them away, they bring them out, مِنَ النُّورِ إِلَى الظُّلُمَاتِ, from the light of truth towards the darkness of untruth. What this verse implies is that all humans have some relative truth and some relative untruth in them. Those who want to believe, they come out from their untruth towards truth, and those who disbelieve, want to disbelieve, they come out from their truth towards untruth. Ulaika ashabun nar, such are the people who are going to be the inhabitants of fire, hum fiha khalidun, they're going to live therein forever. Now, this is a statement that the Almighty has made regarding his policy. That is what he does. The next three verses are actually the examples of how that policy gets implemented. So there are two examples. There's one example that the Almighty has given of the case where people who don't want to believe, they come out of the truth towards untruth. And the next two examples are the examples of those who come out of the untruth towards the truth. So the first example says, Alam tara ila allazi hajja Ibrahima fi rabbihi. Have you not considered, have you not seen the case of the one who argued with Abraham regarding his Lord, an atahullahu mulk, simply because God gave him the kingship, he became a king. So he got arrogant and he argued with Abraham. Is qala Ibrahim Rabbi allazi yuhyi wa yumit. When Abraham said, my Lord is the one who gives life and causes death. Qala, he said, Ana uhyi wa umit. I also give life and cause death. You know, I mean, as a king, because he could take decisions uh, to cause somebody to be given death punishment, capital punishment, even though he was an innocent person, and could also save a person from that punishment, even though he was guilty. So he said to Abraham that, look here, if your God gives life and death, I also give life and death. So what is so great about him? Qala Ibrahim. Ibrahim said, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِي بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ. So God, he brings sun from the east. فَأْتِ بِهَا مِنَ الْمَغْرِبِ. So you bring it up from the west. فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. So the one who was a disbeliever, he was overwhelmed, uh, was astonished. And Wallahu la yahdil qawma zalimin. God does not guide those who are unjust people. So because he did not want to believe, he presented arguments that really were baseless, but he couldn't see that what he was saying was wrong because he did not want to believe. Now comes the example of somebody who was a believer but had questions. أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها. It is said that it's a story of one of the prophets of the children of Israel. The Almighty says, or consider the example of the one who passed by a township which had fallen into ruin. قال أن يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها. He said, how would God bring this to life after its death? How is it possible? Now, apparently, this too is a question which is apparently doubting the ability of the Almighty to bring people back to life. But God knows, He knew that this person, his intentions are good. He doesn't want to disbelieve, he wants to believe. So He helped him in understanding the truth. And the Quran says, فَأَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ مِيَةَ عَامٍ ثُمَّ بَعَثَهُ. So God caused him to die for 100 years. ثُمَّ, then He revived him. ثُمَّ بَعَثَهُ. قَالَ كَمْ لَبِثْتَ. He asked him, how long did you live? قَالَ لَبِثْتُ يَوْمًا أَوْ بَعْضَ يَوْمٍ. He said, probably a day or even less than a day. قَالَ بَلْ لَبِثْتَ مِيَةَ عَامٍ. He said, no, instead, you lived, you remained dead or asleep for a good 100 years. وَانْظُرْ إِلَى حِمَارِكَ وَانْظُرْ إِلَى طَعَامِكَ وَشَرَابِكَ لَمْ يَتَسَنَّى. And just look at your food and drink. It has not changed with time. وَانْظُرْ إِلَى حِمَارِكَ. And look at your donkey. وَلِنَجْعَلَكَ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ. Look at it, and we'll make you a sign for the people. And look at the bones. وَانْظُرْ إِلَى الْعِظَامِ كَيْفَ نُنْشِزُهَا ثُمَّ نَقْسُوهَا لَحْمًا. And look at the bones of this donkey, how we raise them and then we cover them with flesh. فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ. Then when it became clear to him, قَالَ أَعْلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. He said, now I know that God has control over everything. The idea is that God, He guides those people who want to believe, brings them out from the darkness of untruth toward the light of truth. Another story is mentioned, says, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. And mentioned when Abraham, he said, oh my Lord, show me how you will give life to the dead. قَالَ أَوَلَمْ تُؤْمِنْ. He asked, do you not believe? قَالَ بَلَى. He said, why not? I do. وَلَكِنْ لِيَطْمَئِنَّ قَلْبِي. But I'm asking this so that my heart gets satisfaction, conviction. قَالَ فَخُذْ أَرْبَعَةً مِنَ الطَّيْرِ. He said, then take 4 birds. مِنَ الطَّيْرِ. And then فَانْصُرْهُنَّ إِلَيْكَ. And then make them commit to yourself. They should get used to it. ثُمَّ اجْعَلْ عَلَى كُلِّ جَبَلٍ مِّنْهُنَّ جُزْءًا. And then after slaughtering them, put each hill a portion of them. On each hill, you put a portion of them. ثُمَّ ادْعُهُنَّ. And then call them towards you. يَأْتِينَكَ سَعْيًا. They will come to you flying. عَلَمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. And know God is mighty and wise. In other words, the Almighty caused Abraham to go through an experience. We don't know what the reality of it was, but we know that it happened. And He enabled Abraham, who asked for the reality of life after death, to get a confirmation. The moral of the story is that if you really want to believe, if you are sincere, God will make sure that given your sincerity, He is going to guide you, enable you to come out of the darkness of confusion and untruth towards the light of truth and confidence. But if you don't want to believe for one reason or another, then whatever understanding light you already have, that is also going to leave you, and you will not be able to get belief. So, the style of the Quran, first it mentions the principle, the Almighty's policy, and then follows it up with a mention of stories that are actually describing, confirming what the Almighty has mentioned, is what always fascinates me. The Quran, the entire Quran is like this. Its presentation needs to be understood with deep reflection. And if we are able to do it, we will be able to find many other examples in the Quran where the verses coming next to each other, they relate to each other so strongly, they come together so clearly and convincingly that one is left with no other expression save to admire and marvel at the Almighty's presentation.